you afraid of dying?
No, not at all.
Do you think you go somewhere?
No. The one thing I can't understand, I can't grasp my mind around, I feel when you die, there's just nothing. It's like when you're asleep and you're not dreaming. But I can't imagine nothingness lasting forever.
That's
the thing that I cannot get.
I can't grasp. To not exist forever.
Forever.
When does forever end?
I mean, lots of people think it will be like going into the dark forever or being buried alive. But obviously, it wouldn't be like that at all. Because we know darkness by contrast, and only by contrast, with light. I have a friend, a girl, who's very intelligent and articulate, and she was born blind. And she hasn't the faintest idea what darkness is. The word means as little to her as the word light. So if you went to sleep, you're not aware of darkness when you're asleep. And so if you went into sleep, into unconsciousness for always and always and always, it wouldn't be at all like going into the dark. It wouldn't be at all like being buried alive. It would be as if, as a matter of fact, you had never existed at all. Not only you, but everything else as well. You would be in that state as if you had never been.
You know, people, I mentioned this already, people who are old and they look back on their life, they're often sorrowful and regretful for the things they didn't do, you know, the things they left undone and maybe now can't do. You know, you could imagine those of you who've been parents, maybe have grown kids now, you think, well, if you could have children again, would you? And maybe the answer is yes, but another answer is, well, you know, I had kids already. I already did that. And if you did that well, maybe that's enough. And so I would say, if you're afraid of death, take a look at how you're living and see if you're all in. And maybe if you're all in enough, that's good enough. I think that's right. And then I think also, if you're all in and death visits, and you know it's impending, you could say to yourself, I did everything that I was here to do.
Why shouldn't we cherish every day? After all, what is the downside? We're all going to die. Enjoying every moment as well as we can will not hurry it on, and fearing death will not prevent it. I'm not saying cover up the fear of death with drugs or alcohol or pretend celebration. That might just bring death sooner. I am saying savor the moment. Although what happens after we die is beyond understanding, the potential dangers of fearing death are real. Whether you're an elderly person dying from heart failure, lung disease, pancreatic cancer, or a perfectly healthy younger person sitting comfortably in your chair listening to a TEDx talk. Here's another take-home message. By facing your own eventual death, you're better prepared to live. After hearing of my cancer, a psychologist minister friend of mine from afar wrote me and said, "How is your soul with all of this, and how should I pray for you?" Here is my answer. I would ask you pray that each one of us learn to better see and accept our own dying process and to let go of all that fear. And then we can learn to savor every day, every moment. As for me, my faith surrounds me like the wings of a mother hen. I'm okay with dying. I'm trying to put it off as long as I can, but I'll be all right if it happens sooner.
You have to understand that death is a natural part of life. Just as birth marks the beginning of our journey, death marks its conclusion. It is not something to be feared, but rather accepted as an integral part of our existence. Imagine life as a great banquet. Each guest arrives, enjoys their meal, and eventually leaves the table to make room for others. Death is simply our turn to leave the banquet. It does not diminish the value of the experience. Rather, it completes it. You have to also consider the concept of memento mori, a reminder to embrace mortality. Death teaches us to reflect on the transient nature of life and cherish every moment. By acknowledging our limited time, we can live more fully, appreciate the present, and find contentment in the here and now. There was once a king who was reminded daily by his servant, "Remember, you will die one day." This reminder was not meant to induce fear, but to instill the sense of urgency and purpose. It encourages the king to make wise decisions, act with virtue, and live a meaningful life. Lastly, death is beyond our control. Worrying about it only robs us of the joy and peace we can experience in the present. Instead, we should focus on living a virtuous life, cultivating wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. By doing so, we will find that fear of death diminishes, and we will embrace life with greater clarity and purpose.
What are you telling me? Take a break from worrying about what you can't control. Live a little. Live a little.